Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Taking short jumpers in the three-point era. It's the Audience of One show on Conroe's 106.1 and 104.5 FM, streaming on irlonestar.com and available wherever you tend to get your podcasts from. On today's show, we discuss a shocking new utensil, flooding your own property to avoid disaster, and just how many pets is too many. I am Andrew, maestro of the run sheet, next to the guy who can tell the difference between Coke and Pepsi just by the smell. It's Dick. People look at me and think I'm homeless. Schisler.
It's true.
They really do. You're homeless, but maybe not homeless for very long. It's your new homeless, fresh homeless.
Well, that's what I was telling Cindy on the Cindy Cochran show today.
Earlier today, I heard that. Yes, how ironic.
All I'm doing is missing one. Like, if I just miss one tooth, it's like
Yeah.
I'm in the deep end now. Like, people will immediately go meth head.
Yeah, you kind of look like maybe you're homeless in a really nice part of town, or maybe like Beverly Hills, where still making six figs and you're good looking even though you're homeless.
My favorite was this week. I'm working at the bowling alley, and the owner was there, Dallas. You know Dallas, and we're having a conversation because
Yes,
Dallas
I do.
is a good friend of mine. And he kind of like, he literally, this is what he does. Like, say you're him. And if you could see me on screen, this is I wish I could show you the look to give you the eyes. Mm-hmm. We're talking probably from like in a doorway. So we're pretty close. And then he's like, he just stops and goes, you been trimming your beard? Like, he like does this little thing. Like,
Because it's shocking if you had been.
Because he's getting all angles. And he's like, you're kind of inconsistent. And I look at him, I was like, does it look like I'm trying to be consistent? Because I can understand if, like, you got some people who accidentally cut something and, like, you didn't realize you did.
You have to use the like a paper towel or a tissue.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, they're just shaving. And then they're like, and they go, oh, and, like, you cut off.
Got it. Uneven or something.
Uneven.
Sure.
But if you look at me, like, clearly, like, I have hairs going into my mouth. Like,
yeah, so the answer to that question was no, you're not trimming.
yeah, that's what I told him. I was like,
you know how expensive beard trimmers are?
no, I have one, but it's like, I just don't care. No, I think what it is like really when it comes a problem. It's like right now it's a problem today because it's like going into my mouth. So I'm going to shave that.
I think it's probably mint condition. It doesn't get used very often.
And these lips, baby? What are you talking about?
Talking about your beard trimmer. I don't know about your lips. They're always somewhere.
They're always somewhere. They shouldn't be.
Well, it's that time of year again, man, spring. But you know what I'm noticing is already making its first appearance of the year? Mosquitoes. Is it? I can't stand mosquitoes, obviously. Most people can't. But I think it's funny to me that we have all of these different animals and other insects that supposedly eat mosquitoes. You know, people are like, oh, I love possums, man. Don't kill possums. They eat mosquitoes. Bats, we love bats, man. They eat mosquitoes.
I can see that. I can see them.
Those big annoying mayflies, those are awesome. They eat mosquitoes. With all this stuff that eats mosquitoes, why the hell do we still have them?
Well, because they probably make more than we know. I don't know. I'm not really.
There's an imbalance. There's a market.
I've never really had issues with mosquitoes.
There's a market inefficiency going on here somewhere because there's plenty of them. You've never had issues with mosquitoes?
I don't really get bitten I don't get bit that much. I don't know what it is.
They love me
because I know like in the saloon. You've been in the saloon. It's always fun to watch everybody in the saloon while we're watching a game, and everyone like occasionally just goes,
yeah, without even looking.
And you're like, hey, what's going on? Like, oh, mosquitoes, and like everyone's like passing the mosquito spray around.
Well, what I'm thinking is all of these animals that supposedly eat mosquitoes probably don't eat that many mosquitoes. That's my point.
Well, if you sleep with your mouth open,
always,
you might be able to get some yourself.
I'm using that sleep tape, bro.
Well, that's right. I love. I was reading about where it was in the Woodlands. Because, the Woodlands is a little different from the rest of the county when it comes to jurisdiction.
There it is. You're doing great.
And I remember reading the commissioner talking about the budget for the mosquito sprayer. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about increasing the budget so they could fly the sprayer instead of drive.
Air raids.
Oh, yeah.
Just air raid those bastards.
And I was thinking to myself, it's like, how efficient are these sprayers? I'm kind of curious because it was a large budget item. And,
I'm sure.
And I was sitting because my brother did that. I think
It's probably the chemical.
I think I've
more
told
than
you
anything.
that. Is my brother did that for a summer when he
Committed
returned
complete
home.
genocide on mosquitoes.
Yeah, I went with him a couple times it was like from 10 p.m. till like 6 a.m. He was driving in neighborhoods.
Was he like yelling, "Get you some, get you some"?
Well, no, it was actually very calming because no one was out.
Yeah, I see those things going through the.
But they always go like midnight in your neighborhood, and
or really, really early in the morning.
I always wonder how efficient they were.
Not very, because I still have tons of
clearly,
mosquitoes.
you complain about anything. So anything you complain about, you're amplifying it
I
already.
think I have a right to complain about mosquitoes.
No.
No?
Well, no, I'm just saying anything you complain about, when you tell me, I'm like, oh, he's multiplying it by 10. So it's like, it's still bad, but it's not Andrew bad.
All right. Maybe there is some effect for radio. I don't know.
But it was just funny to me to think about you going outside your house and all of a sudden you see these airplanes and just dropping chemicals on you.
Yeah.
And you're like,
I'd stand out there
and
like,
you're like, okay, should I go inside or
smell it all up? Yes.
Well, because they were talking, I forgot what the whole discussion came down to. Is like this guy was trying to argue the winds carry the mosquitoes from the lake, and there's certain boggy areas that are like around Conroe, and so the wind would carry them over to the woodlands. And in the woodlands there's large forest areas, kind of like over north of here. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, we can't. That's where they're mating is in these areas that aren't accessible by car.
How do mosquitoes mate, by the way?
I mean, I bet it's hard and fast because they're coming out and they're making a lot. Yeah. And but yeah, it was really funny to me, and now I want to get an airplane and start gassing some people and just feel like just flying down like. You don't think that'd be funny?
I think it'd be fun. Yes, yeah. Or if you just do it with water vapor, just to watch the people freak out. There would be no side effects and no litigation that way either.
Yeah, because you knew, like, I think my brother at the time was 21 when I was like, because I always wondered, do you have to be a certain age to operate those kind of chemicals?
Nah, probably not. I'm probably 18 if I had to guess.
Because I'm friends with the bug guy. We both, I think the guy who hosts the outdoor show.
Please tell
Craig
me more.
Williams, Excalibur Pest Control. Really nice guy. I went to school with my brother.
Unauthorized plug.
I've known him for a while.
Unauthorized plug.
Well, the outdoor show is a good show. And which ironically, they don't talk about the outdoors that much. The homeowner show. I don't know why I call it the outdoor show.
Yeah, I've listened to them. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah,
they're great.
They Craig Williams is a family friend, and he runs Excalibur Pest Control now. They always have certain specific names for pests and rodents, and like they have certain qualities. The reason I'm bringing this up because he's qualified to buy certain products. Mm-hmm. And I was like, and he talked about Texas A&M being like a pioneer for some reason in these chemicals.
They are in lots of areas.
I know, it's really weird. And I was like, so what does that mean? Like that's why you work here is because you only have to drive like 2 hours to pick up the chemicals? Or he's like, well, you can't ship it unless there's like a certain type of quantity. And there's like, you literally have to do it under like not armed guard, but it's like a controlled substance to kill mosquitoes.
So, well, I imagine in large quantities, it's probably harmful to the human beings as well.
But it's just funny to me.
I can understand that. Speaking of the outdoors, what are your thoughts on hammocks?
Oh, they're the best things ever invented.
I kind of figured that's what you would think. I don't know.
They're the best thing ever invented.
I think my problem with hammocks is I can't seem to get relaxed enough to actually
what kind of hammock
them.
are you talking about?
Yeah, and that's my second part is not all hammocks are created equal. I guess I'm just talking about
the wide one?
The netted one that when you get out kind of like looks like a pod or almost like a canoe, and you kind of have to dig open the opening and get in there. I always just feel like that sucker. I'm just a lean away from flipping out of it, and therefore I can't ever really get comfortable in it. But I figured you'd be like, oh yeah, hammock, bro. I got one in the back, the studio.
No, I wish I did. The South American hammocks are my favorite.
So there's ones that have like support pieces of wood on them, and they're already wide. Those are the ones that you have a hard time getting in and out of.
Well, those are meant to have multiple people on it.
Yeah, they are.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Like that's what I think people think they're for, but it's a style. But I like to.
Once you're in those, I think you're pretty good. It's hard to get in and out. But it's the other ones that it's like, you know what I mean? It's like a net. I feel like I'm squunched up in here.
Well, see, there's something you should
like a little baby
understand.
papusa. Mm-hmm.
So the one with the brace in the netting is more of a relaxing hammock.
Oh, okay.
The one that you're talking about that creates a little oyster for you.
Right.
Those are for sleeping.
Really now?
Yeah, those are meant to be slept in.
Interesting. I didn't realize. That makes sense, I suppose. Maybe one's resting, one's like overnight sleeping. Although, again, I couldn't sleep outdoors.
Well, that's why it clams you up.
Oh, okay.
So you're a little covered.
Oh, look at just like the like a native.
Yeah, they even make special netting for mosquitoes.
Oh, so it's really, really thin, so it breathes, but it's small enough to where the mosquitoes can't get in and out.
Yeah.
I'm just going to let the possums run around.
But I definitely have slept, especially in Galveston. I installed stilts because most of those houses are built with stilts.
Yeah,
So
for
I
flooding
installed-
mitigation.
I installed a
hammock down there. That would probably be really nice because of the breeze.
No, it's perfect.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
that would be nice.
You heard that water? You're just like, dog.
All right, I'm going to give hammocks a second try.
I did one time. Pretty funny.
Have to find one.
So my cousin had a house on a canal, and I tried to set up a hammock in between one of the boat docks.
Okay.
So right below me is the water.
Ooh,
And it was really funny.
that's dicey.
Oh, it was hilarious because I finally got in it.
Yeah,
And
how do you get
and
out,
then I was
though?
like, how the hell do I get out of here?
Did you just eventually flip over and fall into the
I
water?
just fell in the water.
Yeah.
I was like, screw it.
I wish I would have seen that.
Because I took a good nap. I used to sleep all the time.
All right, hammocks. They're back on the agenda for me in my future. I do want to switch subjects here just a little bit. I wrote down a note here, and you're going to have to go along with my little playlet. But what are your thoughts on numerology? I always
Like
find
the study of numbers, or
just people who can put numbers together and
like
make up
mathematicians.
No, people who make correlations based off things like, oh, well, this number equals this number, and so that means it was fate for this whatever to have occurred. And they always they basically make the number say whatever they want.
You mean like that movie with Jim Carrey?
I don't know.
It's like number 27 or whatever.
Maybe. I haven't heard of this
It
one.
was supposed to be that, like, I think it was number 20.
I'm always amused by this. So I actually made up my own little scenario here, but Luka Doncic.
23.
Okay.
No, the number 23 is a Jim Carrey stars as a man who becomes obsessed with the 23 enigma once he reads about it in a strange book. It seemingly mirrors his own life.
See what I'm getting at? You can really, it's kind of like tarot cards. You could probably make them say whatever. But it's like, think about this. Luka Doncic, his number is 77, right?
Nope, never didn't know that.
Well, what were Kobe Bryant's two jersey numbers?
77.
8 and 24.
Okay.
You add those up, you get 32, which happens to be Magic Johnson's number, a great Laker, right? Then if you take 32 and you multiply it by 2, you get 64. If you subtract that 64 from Luka's 77, what do you get? 13. Now, you might think that's unlucky, but Luka's first game with the Lakers was in the second month on the 11th day. 2 plus 11 is 13.
Wait, did you really,
Drop the mic.
Did you really
it was
find
destined.
This? Did you really
no,
find
I
this
came up
somewhere?
with that. That's my whole
You
point.
came up with that?
Yes.
That's actually took a. How long did that take you?
Less than a minute.
No, it didn't.
That's my point.
Are you making it all up?
Yes, I'm telling you, I just made it up.
Oh, so like if I looked up his jerseys and all that
You
stuff?
will not find this anywhere on the internet because I literally made it up yesterday. But that's my whole point about numerology.
But it works, though. The math
it works,
out.
but it doesn't mean
Okay.
crap. But if you make it sound as though it was destiny.
Well, it's still cool.
Is
I liked it.
I don't know. I think it's kind of bullcrap.
I love the left turn you took there. Like, oh, now take that number and associate it with something completely. Let's multiply it this time.
And then subtract.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know that many people who are into that stuff.
Man.
Are you into that stuff? Or
No,
do you
I'm
encounter-
amused by it. That's why I'm trying to remember an example that I saw that made me think of this. I'm like, oh man, this stuff's so dumb.
I literally think this number 23 movie is like all that. It's like him saying the reason that he
And you can,
exists.
because it's infinite, because it's numbers, you can literally make up any sequence of anything you want to prove a point. Ergo, I just proved the point that Luka was destined to go to Los Angeles when he certainly should not have, just by the way.
Not even that, he's going to be just as good as Magic Johnson, apparently.
Or way better, sir. way, way better. But I'm sure I could come up with
I don't think he'd be way better than Magic Johnson.
all right.
You don't think so? You don't think Magic Johnson was a good basketball
No,
player?
Magic Johnson was fantastic, but Luka is going to be one top 3 of all time, probably when it's all said and done.
No way.
Probably already is there, even if he retired today. We're not going to have this discussion.
How long has he been playing basketball in the NBA?
I think it's his 7th season.
Oh, I thought it was like his 4th.
Yeah. No. He's He's quite good, sir.
Then
Quite good.
how does Dallas screw up the contract that bad though?
Oh, we really gonna talk about this.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear us dissect it.
I'm just kidding. I just want to see you
listen
sweat.
to
I know how
me?
much. You care so much about that stuff.
No, I do think it's quite a fascinating story because it is a trade that will rock the sports world and basketball world for a while.
Do
And
people care about basketball though?
I'm not as big a basketball fan as I once was. I used to love
I
it.
try to watch it actually at lunch today at Guadalajara's. New
Or
spot.
Guadalajara's.
No, it's called Guadalajara's.
Oh, awesome.
I'm not
Okay.
kidding you. It's
I like
down the
that.
street. It's wild. And I'm sitting there
It's
watching.
Guadalawild.
And I'm watching the Utah Jazz play
Mm-hmm.
Portland.
Riveting.
And it was just, I was like, because I've been watching the Final Four, the March Madness. So it's like totally different basketball.
I'm sorry about your loss, by the way.
Oh, it was, no, we could talk about that game.
No, we're not going to.
I'm watching it. And I was like,
Guadalajara's. Continue. Stay focused. Focused.
and I was like, this isn't really even that exciting.
No, it's all just who can jack up more threes.
Yeah.
It's completely
like the defense guy, like there's one guy literally just put his hand up like he was asking a question. Like that was his demeanor in his body. It wasn't like a stiff, it wasn't like bracing for impact. It was just like, hey.
Yeah, that's
Hey
one of the
there,
reasons why I
friend.
do not really care for NBA basketball because it is just a bunch of guys jacking up threes. It doesn't appear as though they're playing defense, but I think they are. It's just
Do you
when you
think
can jack up shots from half court, it's kind of hard to defend.
Well, this is what I was wondering. I was like, because basketball can be a very physical game.
It can be, yes.
And I'm like, maybe there was like a secret meeting and was like, hey guys, our contracts aren't very favorable if we get injured. Well, why don't we just shoot the ball? Just let the guy shoot the ball. Like no, don't make any fancy dunks. Just shoot the ball.
let it rip,
Just
huh?
Just let everyone shoot. Don't try to block them. Don't try to don't do any screens.
You know what that's called? That's called horse.
Yeah. Like let's just play horse. And people are paying us millions of dollars
To do it. Yeah, well, that actually leads perfectly in to my first story. Let's go ahead and kick off the show. Mattel, the makers of Barbie, announced on Wednesday that the Los Angeles Lakers superstar LeBron James will be the first professional athlete to get his own Ken doll in his likeness. This is
Hold on,
awesome.
I gotta pull this up because when you sent this
Yeah.
to me, I go,
James will become Mattel's first Kenbassador in a collaboration with LeBron James Family Foundation with hopes of inspiring and contributing to a better world for all. Well, it won't do that. I can tell you that much, LeBron. It's a damn doll.
well, clearly it's used for a fundraiser.
Kenbassador, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't, to me, I'm sure there's a certain percentage that might actually go to a good cause because he certainly doesn't need the money. But it sounds like there's going to be others. And of course, he comes equipped with like a basketball and some shoes and a headphone, his little jacket there. I think they do need to give him a book that he doesn't read, that he just holds. That would be pretty good if you know the story of LeBron James in the book. That was funny to you. If not, it was stupid.
I don't really know basketball too well because I clearly just said I just watched a new game.
Well, we talked.
But yeah, I'm showing the Kindle now.
We talked months ago about how Mattel was releasing the Down syndrome Barbie. I think they need to be really inclusive here and have a Down syndrome LeBron James doll.
Oh my god!
Now that would be pretty awesome.
Well, what's funny to me is they're trying to say it's a Ken doll, but it's just a doll, right? Like that's not Ken
I think it's made by Mattel, which is the same
as Barbie.
as Barbie, so it's technically a Barbie and probably made in the same Chinese factory as every other Mattel doll, if I had to.
Yeah, but it's not called a Ken doll though. Like on the box, will it say Ken doll featuring LeBron James?
It's called LeBron James Kenbassador doll.
Okay, Ken. Okay, I was wondering how they're trying to work this word Ken in.
Well, it will be on the shelves this Monday, April 14th, and the cost is $75 per doll. What a fantastic use of resources.
The creepiest thing is the detail of the face, dude.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It does look like him.
That's pretty good.
It does look like him. At least there's that.
And they got these little Chinese clothes on.
Well,
Or, sorry, made by little baby Chinese hands. And then, please tell me that's a Draft King.
so Mattel
Please tell me that's a Draft King.
Mattel
how do I
will
zoom in?
donate a copy of James's children book, I Am More Than,
That's the foundation.
to save the children for every doll sold at Target
there.
and Target.com next week, up to 5,000 copies. What a stand-up guy you are, LeBron James. I can't wait to see what
Why does it
doll
look
is
like he's
next.
in middle school or high school?
I mean, it's a doll. That's why.
No, I'm talking about his outfit.
Oh,
The
yeah,
outfit-
it does look like he's wearing like a Letterman's jacket.
But he is wearing, like, that is a Letterman's jacket, isn't it?
It kind of does look that way, even though he ironically did not go to college. Probably graduated
No,
high
you
school.
have Letterman jackets in high school?
Yeah.
If
you're right.
anything, you wore them primarily
In high school, you're right. That
Who'd
made
wear
no
them in
sense.
college? You'd be a dork.
Well, this couple's great with this next story.
Andrew was a dork.
An alarming trend
Did you have a
has.
Letterman jacket?
No, I don't
Yeah,
think
you
so.
definitely
No, I
did.
didn't. I didn't order one.
Hey, Mama Andrew, I know you listen to the show. You got to tell me if Andrew had a
No, I didn't have one. I never ordered one. But this goes nice with this next story. An
sounds like a
alarming
sad story
trend
there.
has surfaced on Instagram where numerous accounts are using stolen content to create fake AI-generated personas.
Yes, this is
including individuals who appear to have Down syndrome.
true. Oh yeah, dude. I was.
What the hell?
It's so funny to see, especially on even on the softcore stuff, like Instagram, and because I would say OnlyFans is primarily a hardcore, but the stuff on Facebook, and you can totally tell it's been stolen from someone else.
And they just change it to make it look like a person who has Down syndrome. So what began as a handful of isolated accounts has rapidly transformed into a larger, more organized network that takes advantage of vulnerable communities for profit. One of the most prominent fake influencers had amassed over 148,000 followers on Instagram until the account recently became unavailable. The AI-generated woman with Down syndrome was created to pose as an influencer with additional content hosted on platforms such as TikTok and OnlyFans. So this is kind of odd. I guess
right,
there
so-
are folks that have a...
What you're telling me is someone has an account out there, and this AI company or AI guy goes, let me take all their content, run it through a Down syndrome filter. So, like, he's just using, like, one of those face replicators.
I think it might be both. They could be stealing content and then altering it, or just making completely fake content with Down syndrome faces on these individuals.
So, like, is this person really have Down syndrome?
It's not a real person. No, it's fake.
Okay.
They're fake AI-generated bodies.
they look pretty real.
They do look real. There's a picture of them up there. And at first I thought, how horrible is this that they're exploiting people with this condition? But then again, I thought, is it kind of... are you being... not inclusive? Because if this were a person that didn't have Down syndrome, you would just think, oh, wow, she's attractive. But because they have Downs...
Can't click on that.
Whoa, what was that?
That was on your article, dude. I don't know what kind of article they're sending me.
It was like USA Today, dude.
No, oh my. It was screenshot.media. It's like -media.com.
I mean, isn't it a bit discriminatory is what I was thinking, towards people with Down syndrome?
No.
No, I'm saying it's discriminatory to not allow it.
I think it's
Because if
it
it-
probably exists. We just don't. I'm not going on OnlyFans.
No, it does exist. That's what I'm saying. But isn't it discriminatory to take this kind of content down? Because if it were a regular woman, you said, oh, that's an attractive girl,
Well, if
you
it
wouldn't
was
have a
fa-
problem
if
with
it
it.
was fake.
Yeah, but half that stuff's fake anyways. And I don't
Is
think
it?
it's illegal to have a fake account, is it? Or not a fake account, but a person with AI on there, not
I
a
don't
real
know.
person.
I mean, you're talking to the wrong, because I don't really watch that stuff. So
Oh, neither do I. But
I kind of want to now.
yeah, because that kind of. I guess that just goes to show you. There's
What
a
do you
a
do
take for?
What do you do under the
everyone.
sheets? Oh,
I guess-
I look at fake women.
I guess there's guys that are into the Down syndrome look. I mean, this seems like a niche of a niche of a niche of a market here, but it's apparently
See,
fairly
that's
popular.
what you're saying right there. Even question that's discriminatory. But if I was a influencer on OnlyFans and I had Down syndrome, and I found out this account's fake and they're taking potential views away from me, I'd be like, "Yo, take this down."
Are you showing your up tops though?
Well, yeah. I mean, I
that's the main
imagine if
thing.
you're on OnlyFans, you're showing something. I don't think anyone looks at the homelessness of me and like, yeah, we're just trying to donate. I thought this was a donation portal for to help Dick. But no, do you understand what I mean? Like, if this was like legit AI fake, I was on that platform making legit content, I'd be pissed.
There is a Reddit community dedicated to this that I cannot repeat over the air on the radio, but it is interesting. It has emerged to promote this troubling trend, fueling the non-consensual fetishism of people with disabilities. See, that's what I'm getting at. It does seem like on one hand, you're exploiting them, but on the other hand, not allowing someone to portray this person in a positive light seems discriminatory as well. I don't know, man. Why can't we just go back to just Polaroids? The world was a better time when you just had Polaroids.
Or you had a magazine in the woods.
Always in the woods. Why are people leaving magazines in the woods?
Yeah, that's still one of the greatest mysteries in my life.
Don't get it, man. If you get your hands on one of those, you got to hold on to it, boys. Hold on to it. Well, I guess if it's in the woods, Mom can't find it. Always the woods. Hey, Dick, do you remember we did a story last year about Bodie McBoatface?
Oh, yeah. When they voted on it?
Yeah, somewhere in England, they had a boat. It was, I don't remember exactly, but they took the naming of this vessel to online, and apparently Bodie McBoatface won in a landslide. So they actually named this boat
Bodie McBoatface.
Big Boatface. Well, he has resurfaced again. The autonomous underwater vehicle that a UK-based company allowed the internet to name via an online poll is now involved in a story about Loch Ness Monster. Bodie McBoatface recently stumbled upon an underwater camera in Scotland's Loch Ness, undiscovering a relic of Nessie's hunting lure. The camera is believed to have been deployed 55 years ago as part of an effort to snap a pic of the elusive. And this says totally fake Loch Ness Monster way. It's awfully presumptuous of you to assume that it's fake. But Bodie McBoatface ran into
when we have dire wolves being born again.
We do, man.
Well, not technically. I mean, you can argue.
I mean, they're born, but they're being created.
Yeah, they're not real dire wolves.
Close enough, man.
I guess.
I think, okay, because we talked about, it's the same company that's doing the woolly mammoth and has created the woolly mice, now have created the dire wolves.
But
and
they're not real dire wolves.
They kind of look like they got the longer, elongated jaw, and they're taller or whatever.
I don't think they have any original direwolf DNA in them.
No, they did actually use from fossilized something or another. They used some DNA.
I looked into it.
Did you? You got to give me a direwolf.
They just adjusted the DNA. They adjusted the genes to make it look like a direwolf.
Like after a big meal, you adjust the genes.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever. My point is, I think they're really trying to, profit off of either Game of Thrones. They didn't get much traction on the woolly mice. So we got to go cooler. How about dire wolves?
Well, it's going to come down to that, like the almond milk controversy. Like, can you really say milk?
Milk?
Yeah, because they were sued by the milk industry saying you can't say almond milk.
Because it's not actually milk unless you're squeezing them milks.
And that was the joke when they came out with
glands.
that commercial where they had the almond gland guy, and that was pretty funny. But yeah, that's what's going to happen with these folks. Is you can't really say it's like, oh, it's not extinct anymore because it's not an actual direwolf. It's like it's a gene splice.
Well, I guess the ultimate goal here is they're trying to get to a dinosaur.
No, they're on Time Magazine saying not extinct. And I'm like, well, yeah, it is. That's not a real direwolf. That's like a spliced direwolf.
You need to believe. It's a direwolf in my heart, dude.
But no, when we start changing the reality and names, it's like, well, what's the value of it anymore?
You're no fun, man. Come on.
Well, it's pretty significant to say it's not extinct anymore. And actually being true, meaning like if life found a way to survive, we just didn't know it. Other than these guys in a laboratory winking off stuff,
life will always find a way.
You know, I don't really appreciate them gaslighting me. I figure like that's.
You seem like you're very, very upset by this.
No, is that not what gaslighting is? Is to call it, oh, it's not extinct anymore? But
yeah, and then when you don't believe it, it's your fault. I'm showing you a picture of it.
Yeah, but you're claiming it's not extinct, but it's not an actual direwolf.
You're holding that microphone like it's an Emmy you just won.
Well, I ate before, and I'm like. I'm crashing hard.
If you are not watching this, he's holding the microphone with the stand up off the desk so he can lean back.
Yeah.
Well, the camera that they found, or Bodie McBoatface found, was part of a project spearheaded by Roy Mackle, a researcher from the University of Chicago, who hoped to snap a picture of the legendary creature using his ingenious clockwork Instamatic camera with a built-in flash. But instead, when they went to the store, the 1 hour photo at Kroger and had this film developed, there were no pictures of Nessie, just murky water. Nothing for you to see, Dick. I'm terribly, terribly sorry. It was over 400 feet underwater, and this Bodie McBoatface, I guess, ran into the cabling system that was holding the camera in place, and they pulled it up and said, "Look at this." They were probably hoping for some nudes, but no, alas, just murky water.
That would actually be really more disturbing. If that's what ended up on the camera.
Or if it was Nessie nudes, that'd be pretty cool.
There's a great X-Files episode of that too, by the way.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's like when this person would take a picture, it was you could just take a picture of anything, but it was how the person would die. so it was in the future. Mm-hmm. And so I'd be like, that'd be kind of disturbing going to get your film developed. And like, man, I wasn't in a dungeon being chained and tortured.
Except you will be.
Except you will be.
Oh, man. I find this interesting. Dick, do you think that a blind person can buy legally a firearm?
That's a good question.
The answer is no.
No, see, I think we made a mistake in 1776.
Oh, okay. All right.
We
Gulf of America. I got it.
We shouldn't have given anyone rights. We shouldn't use that word. Now it's like a liberally used word. Everything has rights. Everyone has a right to everything. Blah 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 blah. I mean, really, what we should.
And now rights talk with Dick.
Yeah, we should.
Tell me, what should we have done?
We should have just enslaved everybody, and then put the. Boot,
I think that's been tried, actually.
But, yeah, and it's a lot better for everybody. I feel like.
Well, the answer is no. A blind person cannot legally purchase a firearm. Federal law prohibits anyone who is unable to safely and responsibly handle a firearm from purchasing one. However, a blind person can own one. You just can't buy it. So you can be the enabler here and buy a gun and give it to a person, but they cannot buy it. So they can legally possess it. But I do think this would be an interesting experiment to go into a firearm store with like your glasses on and your little cane and you're moving it around. Be like, I'd like to purchase a gun just to see what they would do. When they tell you no, you get all mad and pull out a pistol and start waving it around. Like, what are you scared of? I'm blind. I'm not going to be able to get you anyways.
You know, it's funny.
You're proving my point.
I can see gun store owners, it's like a lot of them not realizing that's a rule. And when they do a background check, because they're supposed to do that, they'll be like, no, you got denied because you're blind. I didn't even know that was a thing. I can see that happening.
It says there are blind individuals are subject to the same laws and regulations as any other person when it comes to owning firearms. You just can't buy them, but once they're in your possession, it's all the same.
Interesting. I like that. That's a cool fact.
Also, they are not allowed. Oh, actually, it says it depends on the state's laws and regulations regarding whether or not a blind person can have a concealed carry. But to them, it's always concealed because they can't ever see it, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I would fight that. If I was like the ACLU or whatever, who like hates the government. They don't hate the government. They always just, it's good to challenge the government. So yeah, I would challenge that. I don't see why. I have no problem with blind people buying a gun. I honestly see the population of blind people not buying, like maybe like 5% of them would buy a gun.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably a very small percentage.
But still, they shouldn't be restricted just because they're blind.
No, I agree. If they can run track and field, damn it, they can own firearms. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
Last story here before the break, the Kirin electric salt spoon.
Can you imagine dating a blind person?
All the time.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I wonder how that
I
would
don't have to
really
brush
work.
my teeth. I don't have to comb my hair. This would be great for you.
Because I feel
what do you
like...
mean, how would it work? It would work like any other
I know,
normal
but
relationship.
Like, you're always going to have...
I'll show you during the break how it works.
No, you're going to... Oh, thank you. You always have that dynamic, though, of... She clearly is attractive because you wouldn't date an ugly chick, right? And then she doesn't know what you look like, and you're an ugly dude.
And she feels your face, man.
Yeah, oh, she's like, yo, you have all your teeth. That's perfect. Soon, baby, I'll miss some. No, and then what's funny is like 20 years from then, she'll be like, oh, I must be really hot. I can probably get someone better. Do you think blonde people think that way?
All the time.
Because I know a lot of people think that way sometimes. Like,
it would be kind of weird.
People always say, like, you said.
Like, if you go to the mall to check out chicks, if she's, like, checking out people just reaching up to their face, reaching and touching all these strangers' faces. What are you doing? Keep your eyes to yourself.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do this salt
I'd ask
spoon.
her politely, I would go, what do you check next? After the face. Like, I just need to know.
Yeah. What's the order?
What's the next thing? Mm-hmm. That's a freebie.
Where do you make your way down to? All right, we'll just cover this story when we come back. It's a pretty good time to take a break. Otherwise, we'll just go long.
I mean, I've already filled the juice.
So to speak. All right, stick around, Munsies. We'll be right back.
Car enthusiasts of Conroe, FM 104.5 and 106.1 Lone Star Community Radio invites you to shift into gear every Monday from 1 to 2 with Cruising Car Club Talk with Robert and Randy for news on all things automotive in the greater Houston-Conroe area. Can't make a live show? We've got you covered. You can find all of our uncut content, including full episodes on Spotify, iTunes, Play Store, YouTube, Facebook, and irlonestar.com. Again, that's Mondays 1 to 2, Cruising Car Club Talk with Robert and Randy. See you there.
That's Andrew.
All right, Chewbacca over here.
Yeah, before we start the show, and I'm trying to do a warm up. Welcome back to Audience of One every Friday at 10 o'clock here on Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. We don't really have a genre picked out for the show. It's kind of like we just talk to ourselves and talk funny. And one thing that's crucial to being funny is having a host like me, because Andrew certainly isn't. And also we depend on you, the onesie, the fan, to give us some fun articles. You can always email us at audienceofoneshow@gmail.com. That's audienceofoneshow@gmail.com. Send us some funny articles that you find. My personal favorite articles are things that happen on an airplane. Usually weird stuff happens on an airplane. I don't get it. Highlights of the past couple episodes, woman goes topless and just parades around, losing her mind after everyone's on the plane, which I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about this woman.
It's more effective that way.
Yeah, because do you think she had a mental breakdown because she was inside of an airplane and people have that kind of, they go a little cuckoo on an airplane? Or do you think she's like, I want to show off my breast and I want to get the biggest audience, so I'm going to wait till everyone gets on this plane, and before we take off, I'm going to go show my tatas.
I believe that she wanted off the plane, and she knew that if she removed her clothing, that's a good
smart
way to get removed from the plane.
That's smart.
And wanted to show her tatas to everybody.
Okay, so what about the other gentleman that peed all over the grandmother?
I believe he was highly inebriated.
Okay, so that's kind of excusable, because I know a lot of people that would pee. One of my favorites is one of my friends would pee in an oven because he thought it was a toilet.
Happens, man.
And I looked at it. I was like, if they're white, I can kind of see it, I guess. And I go, but the toilet seat's going the other way because you open the oven.
How do you clean that?
There's a clean function and it stinks.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, you're just heating up piss at that point.
Yeah, but that's how you clean it.
No, I would use some chemicals first.
Yeah. and then you inhale, and then. I love it. But let's get back to the promo of the show. We're here every Friday. Don't forget, we're on the Lone Star's YouTube channel. You can watch us. And also, we're on podcasts, like on Spotify and all that kind of stuff.
iHeart,
10 a.m. every Friday. And feel free to donate, support the show. But what I want people to do is send us articles.
Man, I just want to revisit this. You're the funny guy. I'm so blessed.
You didn't like that?
No, I love it. I'm so blessed that we have a funny guy on the show.
Well, actually, one of my favorite comments that I hear about our show is like, Andrew's the professional, and then I'm the idiot. Like, just pure chaos of stupid.
You're my audience of one.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, man. And when I listen to, because I rarely listen to the episodes because I have the conversation with you, so I'm already listening to it. Mm-hmm. And there's some good gems in there.
There are some gems.
We both come up with, and
well, thank you for being the comedian of the show.
Oh, I'm definitely not the comedian of the show. I'm the idiot that you can laugh at.
Or with.
I'm okay with people making fun of me. I don't care. I'm an idiot.
Let's be honest. Dick, what are your thoughts on flea markets? You're a flea market guy. You ever been out to a flea market?
Oh yeah.
I figured I love them. I haven't been to one in years.
What freaks me out about flea markets, especially in this area where we are.
You like flea market chicks? Is
No.
that where we're going?
What it is like
They're a little off.
if you go east.
Flea markets are always east. No matter where you are, they're always east.
If you go east on 105 towards Time to Spare,
cut and shoot,
there's like a flea market built out Renaissance area.
Okay.
But I never see flea markets there.
Well, then what is it?
I don't know.
Oh, is it like an abandoned one?
It's like
Maybe
an abandoned one.
Okay.
And then one day,
we should go record from there.
I saw they are having something there.
Oh, yes.
And it freaked me out because I was like, I bet that's like an illegal one.
Oh yeah? Okay.
Well, but most flea markets are illegal.
No, I don't think most are illegal, Dick. They may have some illegal items they're selling.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But the entity themselves are not
them
illegal.
existing. No,
Yeah.
I meant like Because right when I saw that, I go, I bet you can find some real good things there.
Oh yeah, I love flea market. It's crazy because you can find like a quote Dooney and Burke handbag, but then you can also find like a nice set of throwing stars.
Oh, yeah.
Or switchblade. I love that as a kid going, what is all this stuff?
I know.
This is real stuff.
But
man.
do they even have flea markets today?
I'm sure they're still huge. They gotta be.
Because I feel like that kind
I
of
just
stuff
haven't been in years.
is now like collector's items, meaning they're gonna have something at the convention center. And that's where you go to get your Pokemon cards.
I think you kind of have to be half outdoors for it to be a true
Well, that's what I was wondering.
flea market. If it's indoors, man.
Because flea market usually, from what I understood,
That's too close to a
and
seminar.
If a onesie knows better, I always assumed it was just like an organized garage sale.
I mean, to an extent, some people sell their own wares, and then some people sell stuff that they got through wholesale, and they retail it. It's a little bit of everything, a little bit of antiques. Yeah, that's why you can get
Do you think
all kinds of stuff.
So that's where I wanted to be like a taxidermist. I always wanted to buy an armadillo. That's stuff.
Oh, I'm sure you could find one.
I always wanted to get one of those.
Really classy, huh?
Well, because that to me, when people see that in your house, like what the hell? Like that's not like an animal that you hunt. It's not an animal you spend money stuffing.
Well, somebody
so it makes
did.
no sense.
It isn't. It is definitely a unique aesthetic, and when you go into someone's house and they have a stuffed armadillo, you know immediately who you're dealing with.
Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll get one and I put tread marks on it, and like I ran it over. I ran it over and I got it stuffed. Yeah, that'd be a great story.
My first kill.
Yeah, and I get that squirrel that's been living in my engine. I'd be like, why is this crucified on a crucifix like Jesus Christ? I'd be like, because he needed to die for his sins.
That took a crazy right turn.
Well, he messed with my car. He messed with Babs. Dude, you don't mess with Babs.
Jeez,
you don't like that? You
just took quite a turn.
Well, I'm just messing around. But yeah, I think that'd be actually really funny if that's what you collect in your house was like non-threatening taxidermy animals.
I mean, no animals that have been taxidermed are threatening. Let's be honest. Maybe looking.
No,
who puts the horns on the rabbits? What's that all about?
That's a jackalope.
Jackalope. Yeah, what's that
all
all about?
I think it's a fake.
No S. Really?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So like people always get bears. Well, that's a threatening animal.
That's what they need to be doing instead of trying to bring back the dire wolf and the woolly mammoth. Actually, genetically build a jackalope. What do you call them? Jack-o'-lanterns? Jackalopes.
No, it's a jackalope. It's jackalope. No, but like when I say threatening animal, I mean like a tiger, or something. But then when people are killing like deer, it's kind of like, I get it. Deer's really good.
You'd probably get it. Well, it was pooping. That's it. You get it posed. It was pooping.
But like I'm talking about the other animals, like squirrels. And like just very innocent.
So they have those like at.
I mean, I've showed you the weird taxidermy guy, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, we've talked about him before. Okay. That is really weird.
Yeah,
like really weird.
He makes like pencil cases.
Yeah,
out of rats,
little handbags and stuff.
Oh, that's great.
No, if you go over to like the Bass Pro and they have the setups of all the larger animals.
Yeah.
That have been, down on the ground they have little woodland creatures too, like squirrels and stuff.
That'd just be
somebody's doing
it.
That'd
be weird to me.
Go over there and steal.
Like a raccoon. You get like a raccoon or something.
Yeah, man.
Like, why would you want a stuffed raccoon?
I don't know. I was in the Woodlands Mall a couple weeks ago, and I saw a guy who looks like maybe he would be into taxidermy, but he was in a full-on, head-to-toe cowboy outfit. Okay?
What's a cowboy outfit like?
I'm going to describe
it.
He did not have spurs, but that would have been a nice touch. But it was definitely boots. All right. The pleated pressed jeans, a Western-style shirt, big old belt buckle, and, of course, the cowboy hat.
See, I didn't wear a cowboy hat yesterday, but I wore all that yesterday.
And we're walking through Barnes & Noble, right? So he did stand out. Now, look, I'm not going to make fun of his look because I happen to think the cowboy look is pretty dope, and all that stuff serves a purpose to an extent. So I don't really care. I'm not making fun of, but it did get me thinking that if he's not a real quote-unquote cowboy, and he just goes to his apartment down the street in the Woodlands, it's kind of like he was just wearing a costume, right? It's not much different than if I put on an Allen Iverson jersey and some shorts and walk around the mall, too. It's kind of the same thing. It's just a look at that point.
Well, there is a spectrum to it because, like, say I work at, like, Mattress Firm, right?
Uh-huh.
But I wear, like, an Armani suit.
Yeah, okay.
So I look like a billionaire, but I'm not a billionaire.
Kind of along the same lines, but not as much of a foul. That's a 1-and-1. That's not a 2-shot foul.
Well, I'm saying because the cowboy thing, I think if you just wore, because I wore that yesterday. I literally
No,
wore
you
that.
did not.
You can ask all of our bowling buddies on Wednesday.
You dressed up just as I described yesterday.
Without a cowboy hat because
You got to have that.
The
But
only
okay.
reason I'd wear my cowboy hat is if I'm actually outside working.
Sure, it serves a purpose.
But like,
so do the boots.
Like here,
so do the spurs.
Come in here, wouldn't do it. So if this gentleman was wearing the stirrups in there, I'd be like, that's a costume.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're just searching, for the latest
Was the shirt untucked or tucked
Jim
in?
Cramer economics book in Barnes and Noble, you don't need to be dressed like that.
No, I think-
it was definitely tucked in.
See, I didn't tuck mine in, but that's also because I like it loose. And then, but yeah, I was wearing that, and I wasn't working. I was just like, I just like the pearl snap. Pearl snap shirts are my favorite shirts of all time.
It's just an aesthetic. It's just a look.
No.
And I think that's what this guy
No,
was.
it's-
Oh, so you can rip them
Rip
open.
'em open, baby.
Yeah, like a bodice ripper front cover of a
Yeah,
book or
That's
something.
why I like it.
Or you can do it real slow. Snap, snap,
Yeah,
snap, 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 snap.
yeah. I don't know how many snaps you're looking for.
Just enough.
But no, that's
However many it takes.
the point of my bringing that up is not a costume. That is not a costume.
Okay.
It's a style.
Okay. Then
It would be a costume if he was wearing the extras. Like he had a lasso.
spurs. Yeah.
If he
Where
had
does
a
it?
lasso,
Where do you draw the line between look and costume?
It'd be the stirrups and stirrups. Like, there's no horse. There's no way you can park a horse around here, dude.
You've got a good point. If he did have,
Yeah, that's a costume.
chaps on, assless chaps. By the way, aren't all chaps assless? I don't know why we had that precursor.
Well, I
to
think
the
that's
word.
letting people know they weren't wearing any pants.
No, that just means there's no thing on the back. It's just on the sides.
Because when most people say, "Hey, don't forget to wear your chaps," I don't think they're saying, "Hey, don't forget to wear only your chaps."
No, it has nothing to do with whether or not your ass is showing. It's just that it's not covering up your jeans. It's an extra piece of clothing.
But when someone says, "Hey, wear your assless chaps," that means don't wear anything but your chaps.
Is that the way you've always
Yeah.
interpreted it? When someone tells you to wear your chaps,
Yeah.
like going assless. All right.
Well, I mean, that's what the Native Americans did. But yeah, I think you're wrong calling that a costume. That's not fair to the gentleman. And
I didn't say it to his face. I just said it over the
should
air
have.
on the
You
radio.
should have. That would have been hilarious. Like, hey, I heard Party City closed. Where'd you get the costume?
It's also a good way to get my ass beat, too.
Yeah, I welcome those kind of opportunities.
Bet you do. No, he looked fine. Like I said, and certain guys can pull that look off way
cowboy
better.
hat-
I can't do that. I look like a twerp.
Well, see, I argue that the cowboy hat is a costume if you don't use it to wear
Functional.
outside.
It's functional.
Because, like, there's no way you can drive in your car
True.
because you have to either bend forward or you have to get rid of your headrest.
Mm-hmm.
And I always love it when I see guys who wear, because I know a bunch of dudes that wear cowboy hats and they get rid of the headrest.
So they can wear their
so they can
cowboy
wear
hat.
their cowboy
Yeah.
hat.
Now
And
that's a look right
and
there.
I was like,
that is staying true to the bit.
I was like,
right there.
you're sacrificing safety
Mm-hmm.
over this. And then, ironically, as a cowboy, you're supposed to take your cowboy hat off when you go inside.
He
That's-
did not.
That's always a customary.
Put
to
it
do.
over your heart, man.
No,
Hold it over
but
your heart,
but
bro.
I hate that because you have to hold on to it the whole time.
Yeah, just wear
So
it.
like I like hats like these because I can take the snap. Mm-hmm. I can take the snap and put it in my belt loop.
Yeah,
if
you
I need
can.
to take it off.
Yeah, you can.
So I like doing that.
Yeah, I've done that. I do that on like rides and things where I
Yeah.
feel like the wind may take the hat off. I'll snap it to my belt buckle.
Or when some lady
Belt loop.
invites me into their house, I'm like, this might get a little
This
wild.
might be a crazy ride here.
But yeah,
jeez.
not a costume. What
Okay.
you're wearing is a costume.
You're a costume. This is a crazy story. The owner of a Kentucky restaurant fills his restaurant with water to beat flooding. Now I have the video pulled up. I'd like for you to show
I
it.
did
It's-
not know that.
This is really just a video story.
Give me a moment.
But I will.
Give me a moment.
Oh, okay, I will
I'm
narrate
looking
it.
at Down syndrome
The
girls.
long and short of it is Andrew Masterson, co-owner of Captain's Quarters Riverside Grill near Louisville, told CNN he deliberately filled his riverfront business with fresh water to keep dirty floodwaters out amid widespread flooding in Kentucky.
We got an ad.
This is insane. So basically, when businesses and buildings flood, it brings in a lot of nasty water, right? Water from sewage, you got some poo-poo in it, it's dirty and nasty. So he figures my restaurant is going to get flooded anyways. What if I just open up fresh water and seal off the building, making it essentially a swimming pool indoors, and the water from the outside won't come in because it'll be a barrier? And this
All right,
video is
I
wild.
got it pulled up.
Yeah, so you can see it. Basically, it looks really clean. That's fresh water. You can see the ground, through the flooring, through the water. I'm amazed that those doors are that waterproof. That there's nothing going in and out. There's no permeability. And yes, fireplace still working. But as you go towards the door there, you can see the water outside is nasty brown. But his foot under the water there, pure and clean as the wind-driven snow. It worked. Again, I'd like to know the manufacturer of those windows because they're
what would the insurance
watertight.
Company do?
So that's my question, because technically he did this to himself. Is the insurance company still going to pay that claim? Because it did suffer water damage, but it's a lot less damage than if it had been nasty river water. I don't know. I don't know the answer to this. It's an ingenious idea, a risky one to say the least, because if you do happen to go in, flood your restaurant, and the floodwaters don't come up high, well, you just screwed up your entire business for no reason at all. But in this case, it worked, man. What a genius. He doesn't need to be owning a restaurant. He needs to be working for NASA.
Ooh, that's a strong statement.
Well, the guy's genius.
Yeah.
Maybe they should make a Ken doll of him. He's the next Ken-bassador.
Oh, with his water or waders on?
Yeah, holding a spatula.
I like it. Okay. What's next?
We were talking about tape over the mouth the other day.
Well, that wasn't the first date.
No, second date. That tape over mouth is definitely second date material there.
Just trying to correct your breathing.
And you, I think it was sleep tape we were talking about. You said you had taken, it wasn't for sleeping, but it was to help you swallow or to keep your tongue in your mouth. Well, this is interesting. Wouldn't you know, golfer Ryan McCormick placed plastic tape over his mouth in an effort to shut himself up on the course during the Club Car Championship in South Savannah, Georgia, Friday, April 4th. McCormick apparently has a really bad temper, and he tried just about everything in terms of anger management while on the course and was hoping that the tape would help.
You know my favorite thing about that horrible combination of golf and anger management is I'm thinking to myself, how many people you played golf with that don't want to play with you anymore because of your anger issues?
All of them. Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, all the suggestions they have for you because you have such anger problems, if you have to put tape over your mouth. Now, if you had Tourette's and you would say some unsavory things, I understand the tape. But
he says he didn't want to create an experience for his playing partners that's not fair. So I guess he throws such a temper tantrum, it throws other people's games off, and he wants to be a fair competitor.
Do you remember we had a mutual friend like that when we bowl with?
Probably. I've known a few hotheads. Probably. I think I know who you're talking about. Yes. Yeah. In his case, tape probably wouldn't have helped, as he had a propensity to punch things.
Yeah.
The yelling, it may have helped.
And I
a little
remember
bit.
because y'all are more veteran than I am. Like you're like, hey, that's gonna be distracting for everybody. Stop doing it, at least for the team. And I was like, I kind of enjoy it.
It just adds to the ambiance.
No, and I don't know because I remember our other friend was like, why do you enjoy that? I was like, well, at one time he's gonna punch something that hurts him. Like he'll punch the iron pole.
Yeah.
And then it'd be really funny.
I have seen a guy shatter his hand.
Yeah.
While at the bowling center. Upset about a shot. Punched the wall, knocked a hole in the wall, and picked up his bowling ball, put it in the bag, and left because he had injured himself to the extent where he could no longer participate.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see that.
Well, there's a picture of this guy walking around with his PXG golf hat on and a piece of tape over his mouth.
And ironically, that guy was a nice guy.
Yeah, well, don't make me angry.
Well, yeah.
That's the way it goes. But I don't think it really helped because I think this guy, one, I've never heard of him, and two, I don't think he made the cut. I'm not sure.
A lot of people don't.
Yeah, a lot of people don't.
Yeah, you like how we're going to go watch golf together?
Yeah, we are, man. We're going to head out in a few weeks to the Chevron.
Yeah.
What is it? The Chevron Championship, the ladies' major, the first major of the year, I think, for them. Who do you like in
the
the
minors?
Well, yeah.
Why do they call it majors?
Well, oh my God. Major tournaments. There's 4 major tournaments a year.
Okay, so what are the other ones? Minors?
Sure.
What do they call them?
Regular events. Although this year they did add what they called elevated events, which have a higher purse, and you're required as a professional to participate in those.
So like the one in Valero.
San Antonio last week, not a major.
What about the one in Houston?
Not a major. But for the ladies, it is.
Okay. Interesting. Mm-hmm. But they're doing it in the Woodlands. That's
correct.
in Memorial Park or wherever they did the other one.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
You know, I just realized
That you don't understand how majors work in sports?
No, all you got to tell me is you get more money. There's not like better points or
More points. The fields are tougher, harder to qualify for, except for the Masters.
So is Augusta?
The fields are a little.
Is the Masters a major?
Yes. Who do you like in the Masters, by the way? This ought to be a great response. Yes, it's going on right now as we speak.
Oh, is it really?
It started today, yes.
Cool, dude. I like that Scheffler guy because he fights people. Mm-hmm. He drags cops.
Sure does.
And gets away with it.
It's a pretty good pick considering he's the number one player in the world and defending champion.
Way
to go out on a limb there.
Well, no, I just liked when I read that story about him dragging the cop in his car. I go, what really happened here? Because there's always two truths,
I would have been shocked if you said like Billy Horschel or something. I'm like, wow, look at you reaching in your pocket deep. But no, you went with the obvious one.
Tiger Woods' kid.
That's it. Charlie.
Charlie. Or John Daly's kid.
Little John.
Yeah.
He plays golf from the window to the wall.
No, but yeah. So whatever didn't end up. Did they have any footage of that? Did he really drag a cop? Did he grab his hand and like?
Yeah, I think there's some dash footage cam from another vehicle. All the charges were dropped. If you're asking me what happened in the Scotty Scheffler arrest case from last year, yeah, all the charges were dropped.
Do you think that's just because the golf people said like, hey, he didn't do anything wrong? Because the golf people hired the officers to be there.
Yeah, it did sound as though the police officer may have gotten a little bit out over his skis potentially, and there was a misunderstanding, it sounded like, and because of his status and who he was and whatnot, he probably just said, let's just let this go. Let's let this be a lesson for everyone here. What could we have done better?
I like scenarios like that.
Scotty's thinking I could have turned left and ran completely over you. That's what I could have done better. No, he's not. Just kidding.
Did he end up winning
that week? Probably. No, I think he got like third or something.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It's still amazing.
That's still a boss move, though.
Yep.
Okay, so the Masters is a major.
Yes.
I'm learning a lot today.
Check.
All right. And it's going on right now. Is it? So it's over at the end of the weekend?
Yes, on Sunday, as most tournaments finish on Sunday. Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah, because the one in Houston really threw me off because whoever does the Golf Channel,
be the children's children's.
It was the Children's Hospital.
Yeah, Children's Hospital.
But
tournament.
they had like a delay. But the way they were doing the scores and showing the footage, it was confusing as hell because they were showing the delayed footage, meaning like the stuff that happened before the delay. But then they're showing the scores of the current scores.
I don't think you understand how instant replay works.
No, because they were delayed for like 4 hours.
Oh. Was it like a weather delay?
Yeah. So when you go to the thing.
Yeah, you're watching something on. Yeah, but they're showing current scores, but play from hours earlier.
Yes. And
I could see how that would trip someone like you up. Yeah.
I was sitting there going like, am I like an idiot on this math? Like, what? How is this guy? What is happening? And then I realized it said delay, like previous footage, but the current score, I was like, why would they do that? That would just confuse.
Just to trip you up, buddy.
Yeah, because I had an ESPN app, and I'm like, wait a second, he's like up by 11. Like what?
Yeah, it doesn't take much to trip you up, but
no.
This is an interesting story, man. Pet owners in Colorado City could have their pets removed after the city council passed a law limiting the number of dogs and cats per household.
Would you go there and be like, what is this, China?
Starting August 1st, North Glen residents cannot have more than how many dogs and cats?
4.
Very good. They cannot have more than 4 pets or a combination of 2 dogs, 2 cats, whatever, but
how many
total
pets do you have?
Of 4. I have 1 if you don't count all of the mosquito-eating rodents in my backyard. Just 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 little
I
dog.
have an armadillo at Kurt's house.
One's stuffed.
I call him Army Hammer.
Okay.
After the actor who beat people or whatever.
They're just rats with shells. That's
I know.
Really all
I'm telling you, but I love Army.
This is interesting,
every time
man.
I see him, I'm like, what's up, bro?
I don't know how this works for people who already have more than 4, because I doubt they're going to send people to their door and knock and be like, "Excuse me, how many animals you got in there? 5? All right, time to Sophie's Choice it. Which one's leaving?
No, did they
Which one's coming with me?
Is that how it happened in China?
With the kids?
Yeah.
I don't know how it happened in China.
I wonder, because I remember reading stories that were tragic.
So. I don't think so. But
I remember reading really tragic stories about births after the ruling. But in my mind, I'm thinking what happens on January 1st when everything starts? Say you have 4 kids.
I think there's probably a grandfather law, if I had to imagine. But, man, this just sounds to me a lot like, or there's going to be a lot more red tape trying to keep up with this. You're hiding like rodents and hiding your iguanas under the sheets and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But I guess it's done in an effort to make sure that all animals are properly cared for. I'm guessing. I don't really know why.
I wanted to send you this article so bad. Let's see if I can find it. Basically, what it was saying was how hurtful and harmful dogs and cats are to the environment.
Oh, yeah. Cats are brutal. Oh, listen to this. Northland says it wants to ensure, quote, a compassionate transition. Anyone who has more than 4 pets allowed under the law, new limit, can complete a form listing each pet's name, age, sex, and breed, and the date acquired. Our goal is to work with residents to ensure compliance through education, blah, blah, blah. So it sounds as like if you've got more, you're going to have to jump through, again, red tape to make sure that they know about it, but you're not allowed to get any more.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, they're basically saying that.
I like the idea, though. They're going to go door to door and make you choose between Fluffy and Bam Bam.
And what was the
all right, which one's coming with me?
What was the nice word they used?
When's the last
Compassion?
one? When's the last one? Which one of you crapped on the floor last? You! Get out!
Compassion visit? Is that what they call it?
They are
when
going
they're murdering somebody?
Compassionate transition.
Compassion, yeah. So what's really funny is locally here in Conroe, the city took over, or the management of the, what do they call it? The local pound. What do they call it?
That would be a shelter.
Animal control.
Animal control, yes.
And the shelter. And I'm not kidding you. This is the fun. Like, I was just imagining this in my mind. Is they have this whole new person in charge. They're trying to make it better, right? So someone goes to our online BITCH group. That's what I call it. Everyone bitches about everything. And
funny you spelled it out and then seconds later said the word. Continue.
Well, anyway, they're on there, took a picture of the building, and was like, I came here on Monday at so-and-so, and they are closed. And they're like, no one would answer the door, but I know they're in there. They were very rude. They told me I had to leave, and I don't understand what's happening, blah, 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 blah. And then someone finally just goes, oh, between Mondays from 2 to like 6 p.m., they're killing the animals. So they can't allow anybody. And this person was serious. Like, yeah, they don't allow anyone in the facility.
That's when they're putting Fluffy down,
That's when they're putting all the dogs down.
Jeez Louise.
And I'm like, I was just thinking of this woman.
Can you imagine her wanting to get in? You
Yeah.
need to let me in. Google Maps says you're open right now. And they're like, all right, come on in if you want to see this.
Yeah, and it's like, well, you're killing them. Like, what do you think we do here?
Oh, man.
But yeah, that's what this person said. And I go, that is true, because they do have to euthanize them at one point, right?
There are no kill shelters.
Yeah, but the ones that are like...
They rely heavily on donations, though, to keep the animals alive for a long period of time.
They also rely heavily on the ones that are kill shelters, too. So, ironically, they really do. I talked to a no-kill shelter about that.
Did you know?
Yeah.
Those are usually some fairly compassionate folks.
Well, no, I know, but I go, isn't it kind of weird that you guys are like no-kill, and that's part of like your business card, but you don't advocate to get rid of no-kill? Is it because they're taking care of some of the trash you don't want to take out?
I see where you're going with that.
Yeah, and because I know most no-kills are very full.
Yeah, I think the animal shelters are probably funded by city agencies, and the no-kills are not for profit, private donations.
I know our county judge, that's all I see him talk about. It's like adopting animals.
It's important, man.
And
it's important. Just no more than 4 if you're in Florida.
And then he's cleaning up the highways for graffiti. I always love, oh man, I want to show you something off the air.
Oh, God.
I always love it when you see a politician or a guy who wants to be, or a lady in politics, clearly in a situation that is uncomfortable for them. Maybe not for everybody, but just for them. But they're like, oh, I have to be here for the votes, or I have to be here for the image, or to give it off. For sure. And there's this guy I know that he ran for senator. He ran for senator of Texas. Ran for what was it? Something in the state of Texas. Then he ran for the state, like actual country or U.S. senator.
I'm just gonna let you go here.
And he went to like Ghana or something.
On purpose?
Like, yes,
okay.
and as a ministry thing.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, sure.
And they had a welcome sign for him, and it had his face, and it was like, ah. And then what I loved about it is it said, instead of saying like doctor or whatever, it said Christian name. And I was like, huh, is that like, Are they just that tells everybody he's a Christian, or what's going on?
I don't know
there?
about that one. That sounds a little strange.
It's a little
but,
strange, man, and I'll show it to you. And like,
Okay.
and you're gonna immediately get because the photos look. I mean, he's like prison photos. Like he's like.
Maybe they were basically saying that's his given Christian name or given
No, I
name.
think so.
But later we're going to call him something completely different.
Well, I know. That's what I was like. That's kind of wild.
This is to get his attention, but behind closed
But
doors, you know
he's
who
an
we're
in-
really
in-
talking
He's
about.
an interesting dude, but like, it's so fun. I thought of that when I thought of you when I saw those pictures.
We've got our own names for this guy.
Yeah, because I was.
Speaking of no kill, a Nevada man who was arrested on Wednesday after 7 tigers were seized from his home said they were his emotional support animals. Tigers, 7 of them. Officials raided Carl Mitchell's home on Wednesday morning and arrested him on suspicion of resisting arrest. Wait a minute. Suspicion of resisting arrest? That doesn't make sense. Wouldn't you know? Are you trying to resist arrest here?
That's kind of strange.
I suspect you might be trying to resist arrest. I didn't pick that up the first time I read it. Mitchell 71 did not have any special conditions.
Well, do you think
animal permit
okay,
to
let me ask you this.
own the
Let me ask you this.
animals?
Suspicion of resisting arrest.
Yeah.
I feel like that is a fancy word of like a flight risk.
Right. I think they're like, we think this guy is probably not going to want to come with us. So they're
Yeah.
projecting on him. So they're
Well, I
going
mean,
to be
like-
like, we're going to go to his house, but we have a feeling he's going to dart or throw one of them animals on us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love people who own
He
these
did not
tigers.
have a special conditions animal permit to own the animals, which his county requires, and he violated other rules over the years. I love this. Emotional support animals. I did see something in here. Oh, yeah, it says that Mitchell also said he, quote, rescued the big cats from Tiger King Joe Exotic, the former Oklahoma zookeeper of Netflix fame, who was, of course, convicted of murder in a murder-for-hire case involving his animal welfare activist ex-wife or girlfriend, whatever, Carol Baskins. He is serving 21 years in prison right here in the great state of Texas. I believe he is in Fort Worth.
Oh, he's not in Huntsville?
No, he is not. I just love this. Emotional support tigers.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I would have one.
Yeah, I guess so.
And the emotional support they give me is they put the fear of God in me. Because I don't want to get eaten, dog.
I would not want to either. This is a story that I wanted to cover last week, and we kind of ran out of time. But this is gross, but also just shocking. A man with multiple sexually transmitted and communicable diseases. That's very important to make sure that he has, that he has both sexually transmitted and communicable diseases, was sentenced to 6 years in prison for urinating into office workers' water bottles, resulting in the victims contracting herpes simplex 1 and hepatitis A. What in the actual F is going on here? So this dude was a janitor at this business for like 20 years. I guess he kind of got bored with just cleaning and mopping the floors. He decided to urinate in the water bottles or the water jug that the office uses. And one of the ladies there was noticing that her water had a weird taste and a bit of a smell to it. And some of the other ladies noticed the same thing. They, I guess, looked on some security cameras and ended up busting this guy whizzing in their water. This was in Houston. Yeah. He was employed for 20 years.
How many STDs do you have?
Just the 2 is what all the people caught.
Hepatitis A. How do you get hepatitis A?
According to the documents, there was a 5-gallon water bottle dispenser at the medical practice, again, where he worked for 20 years, that was used by staff and others. It was the type of dispenser that had hot and cold settings and it's situated in a common area. So, one of those fancy ones where you can turn it off and on and hot and cold and everything. He's over there hiking after hours into this thing.
So the virus, the hepatitis A, is found in stool.
So yeah, it is interesting. They caught this
blood of infected individuals
through his tinkle. That's where I was
but
going to go.
how did he get it? Is he eating poop?
Oh, how did he get it originally? I don't know. Well, obviously, you can transfer it through urine as well.
It's through fecal oral route. What?
So this guy was
contaminated food. So it's not an STD.
It's not an STD?
Yeah.
I guess not, if it can just be transmitted through water. What are you doing with that water?
Yeah, I don't know if that's an STD.
Well, it looks like the story goes on to say that she would leave like her personal water bottles like on her desk, and I think he was tinkling in those too. What is this guy getting out of it? Well, I can tell you what he's gotten now, like 20 years in prison.
I like it. Good for
Yeah,
him.
good for
Is
him.
he your person of the week?
No, he is not.
Because he sounds like he needs to be.
He is definitely not the audience of one onesie of the week.
He definitely sounds like he
what's
needs
the
to be.
payoff here, dude? I don't get it. I guess he walks by and like, hey there, Henrietta, how are you? Knowing he's drinking her piss or his piss. I don't get it, man. Kind of weird.
I would feel so weird trying to do anything kinky without being filmed. Like, you're going to be filmed no matter where you are. I feel like.
This story does go in and has a lot more detail that I will spare you from.
What?
It's just gross, man.
Is it more oral fecal?
No, it's
HIV,
it just describes the situation and how these women came about finding the yellowish liquid inside and the smell and everything else. Oh, which means they were drinking it.
Oh, man, you're
nasty, man.
I mean,
well, this guy can pee in all the water he wants now in prison. All right, it's probably a good time for the quick hit here at the end of the show. Am I right? Mm-hmm. Dick, are you aware of who Karen Ann Quinlan is?
No.
Karen Ann Quinlan was an American woman who became an important figure in the history of the right to die controversy in the United States. Sadly, when she was 21, Quinlan became unconscious after she consumed Valium along with alcohol while on a crash diet, and she lapsed into a coma, followed by a persistent vegetative state. Kind of seems like those are one and the same, a coma and a persistent vegetative state. Whatever. After doctors refused the request of her parents to disconnect Karen's ventilator, her parents filed a suit to get her disconnected. They wanted her to die. The parents believed that her still being connected to the parents believed that her still being connected constituted extraordinary means of prolonging her life. Eventually, a court ruled that the ventilator could be withdrawn. However, she continued to breathe on her own and survived for another 9 years in a persistent vegetative state.
But she never
She
woke
is
up.
our onesie of the week, dude.
She never woke up?
She never woke up, but that's crazy. Her parents are like, we gotta unhook her, man. She's gonna die. This is ridiculous. We're just keeping her alive. They unhook her, and the chick lives for 9 more years, man. It's pretty impressive.
Do you think they were sitting over her body and like waiting for the beep,
Yeah,
beep,
come
and
on.
it never, and it's like,
No, I think at that point they were.
are we supposed to get lunch now?
I think at that. Yeah, what is she still doing here? No, I think at that point they were probably filled with some hope because once you remove the ventilator, they're thinking, all right, she's going to go. And when she doesn't, it's like, well, maybe she's going to make a miraculous turn here. She's on her own. But alas, that did not happen.
Sad.
It is sad.
What's even sadder is more sad, I guess that's the correct way to say it, is the opening line you said. She became unconscious after she consumed Valium along with alcohol on a crash diet.
Yeah,
What-
not
what-
a recipe I would recommend.
Yeah, what is going on with that?
I'm not sure I've ever heard of
21?
a crash diet that requires Valium.
Yeah, and alcohol.
Well, I can understand that.
But on a diet?
My diet requires lots of alcohol, in
Yeah,
fact.
mine too. Speaking of which, I'm getting the shakes, dog. Can we
That's
get
probably
outta
time
here?
to go, yeah.
Can we get
All
outta
right,
here?
thank you, onesies, for joining us for this fine episode. Like we always say, like, share, follow, tell a friend. We would greatly appreciate it. Until next week, onesies, bye-bye.